Did you know Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry are having great years for running backs? Did you know Najee Harris has 1,000 rushing yard seasons? Kind of crazy. Anyway, let's go ahead and see if the Baltimore Ravens and Philadelphia Eagles can buck the trend of not having good running backs, making it to the Super Bowl with two really good running backs, two really good quarterbacks, too. Let's go ahead and talk about the Texans Chargers. This game I think is super interesting. Jim Harbaugh bringing new life into the Chargers, bringing back Justin Herbert, making that team look really good. Lad McConkey being there, Khalil Mack on defense, Joey Bosa on defense, Diane Henley looking really good for them at linebacker. Derwin James, obviously, Quentin Johnston going for over 100 yards against the Raiders. That's really good. But then the Texans, they have CJ Stroud, who's looked a little iffy this sophomore season. And then they also have Joe Mixon in the back. They have Nico Collins. They have all these guys. They have Will Anderson. They have Derek Stingley Jr. So this is going to be a really fun and really good game. But I'm going to take the Chargers. I think Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert find a way to get it done. I think it's a really close game. I would not be shocked if the Texans do win. If you have a problem with that, let me know down in the comment section below. Let me know who you think is going to win, who you want to win, who is going to win. Steelers versus Ravens. Most recently, the Ravens beat them earlier in the season. The Steelers beat the Ravens. But I think that Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, even without Zay Flowers, they still have Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. Like, they have a really good team. Lamar Jackson's got wheels. Russell Wilson hasn't looked that good recently. George Pickens can't catch. Najee Harris, I don't know how he has 1,000 rushing yards because I don't know, dude. It's kind of interesting. I'm picking the Ravens here. I think their defense is going to play better. I do think the Steelers have a really good defense, but I think Lamar Jackson just gives them problems as a defense in general. I think they could have a really good game plan for him, but just being able to have that multi-dimension from Lamar, I think it's just going to be too much for them to overcome. And now let's talk about Buccaneers, Commanders, Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Austin Eckler, and Brian Robinson on offense for the Commanders. They also have a really good defense, and they traded for, why can't I think of his name? The cornerback that always fights, Mike Evans, Marshawn Lattimore. I just brought it into my head. Sorry, guys. And then we have the Bucs with Baker Mayfield and Bucky Irving, who wasn't there. This is a week 1 matchup. So, he wasn't there for week 1. Jaden Daniels was a rookie, so takes rookies a little bit more time. A lot of times, if you look at the statistics, rookies lose their first matchup, so we can't really take a lot of stock into that week 1 matchup. I don't think we can take a lot of stock into the week 1 matchup for the Eagles and Packers either. I mean, that was in Germany. So that being said, I think I am going to take the Washington Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin are just able to get it done. I know Baker Mayfield has that clutch gene, and it makes me really worry. And then if the Buccaneers can get a little bit more healthy before this week, the Bucs have a real good shot of winning that game. But I do like the Commanders just a little bit more than the Buccaneers. It's going to be a really close game. I wouldn't be shocked if it's an overtime game, and that would be a lot of fun to watch. But next we have the Eagles Packers. The Eagles have Jalen Hurts as long as he's back from concussion. They have Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. This is barring injuries because these predictions can change on a dime. Like, injuries can happen. Jaden Daniels can get hurt. Baker Mayfield can get hurt. You never know. Even with Zay Flowers being hurt, I still think the Ravens win, though. As long as the Ravens get him back by the divisional round, I think they're good. That being said, though, and then the Packers, they have Jordan Love, who looked like he hurt his injury or his throwing arm this last game, but then it kind of looked like they just held him out just so that way he didn't get fully injured, because he was warming up when they thought Malik Willis was hurt. So that's something to look at. But I do think the Eagles have a better offense and defense, so I think they are able to just get it done just a slightly better than them. And now let's talk about a really good matchup here in the Rams versus the Vikings. The Vikings will be able to have their fans go to SoFi Stadium. If you don't know, SoFi don't really sell. Rams don't really sell. I mean, I know it is the playoffs, so they might be able to sell a little bit better now. We'll see. But I do think that the Vikings are able to get it done. I think Sam Darnold is able to figure it out. I think they throw in a few more underneath routes and are able to run the ball a bit better against the Rams. Rams defense has or Rams have a really good defense though, so if they are able to get pressure on Sam Darnold, I would not be shocked if the Rams are able to win. The only pause I have with the Rams are that the offense has been a little stagnant recently. Like the last time we saw this Rams offense on the field, it was a little bit slower, even with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. It seems like they can't find their stride with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua both being there. So it'll be a little interesting to see what ends up happening there. But I do think that the Vikings are able to take it, and I have technically 2 upsets, but the Rams have a worse record than the Vikings. So, Vikings having to go on the road is a little criminal here. All right, and last but not least, we have the Bills versus Broncos. I do think this could be potentially a really good game, but I do think Josh Allen, Keon Coleman, Amari Cooper, James Cook versus Bo Nix, Javonte Williams, Jalal McLaughlin / Audric Estime. Don't really know. Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, and Devon Vele. That defense is really good, though. They have PS2, one of the best corners in the league. And the Bills still have Matt Milano, Ed Oliver, Greg Rousseau, guys like that. So I think this will be a really good game, but I do think the Bills end up winning that game and end up having to play the Ravens, 2 seed, 3 seed, 1 seed versus 5 seed, 1 seed versus 6 seed, and 2 seed versus 5 seed on the NFC side. So here we will start with the Chiefs versus Chargers. I'm going to save this game for last because this is probably the highly anticipated game of the week, or maybe the Vikings and Eagles would be a highly anticipated game of the week too. So both those 2 games, we'll save those 2 for last. But because we're starting AFC, we'll go AFC, NFC, NFC, AFC. But that being said, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Clutch Gene, DeAndre Hopkins. Kind of forgot he went there because he's been a little quiet as a Chief, but he's still really good. And then, like I said, we already overviewed the Chargers, but I'm going to take the Chargers in this game. The Chiefs obviously beat them twice in the regular season. It is a divisional matchup, but I do think the Chargers find a way to get it done. Like I said, it's a divisional matchup. If it comes to this, I think the Chiefs aren't very happy that they have to play the Chargers because they've already seen them twice, and the Chargers are able to make adjustments based on what they've seen from the Chiefs before. And then the rest versus rust, like having 2 weeks off in a row, I think does actually hurt, but you are trying to stay healthy. So I understand where Andy Reid is coming from in that sense, but at the same time, I think they should have played a little bit, But if they do get healthier and are able to heal up, like you want Pacheco to be healthy, you want these guys to be healthy, but I do think in the end, the Chargers are able to barely squeak out a win. I do think it goes to overtime and the Chargers are able to get the win. I know overtime games, you're like, oh, Patrick Mahomes is just going to win it. But I do think the Chargers somehow find a way to win it in overtime. There you go. That's my biggest take, I think. Obviously, the Chiefs could be really good. They could be like they've been playing the last few weeks versus how they played at the beginning of the season and somehow got wins even when they were not playing well. So I could be totally wrong about this, but I'm taking the Chargers. Now we have the Lions versus Commanders. I think the Lions are able to heal up 1 week, but they did just play. So I think the rest versus rust for them isn't as big of a deal. It's literally just a bye week. And like for the Eagles, I think they needed the week 2 because they had week 5 off. Or they haven't had a bye week since week 5. So I think that's why this is so important for these teams. I do think the Lions, with Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, potentially David Montgomery's coming back. He wouldn't say. I don't think they should rush him back because they do have Jahmyr Gibbs. They have a really good running back. Craig Reynolds looked good. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have Jamison Williams. They have Sam Laporta. They have a really good offense. Alex Anzalone coming back made that defense look really good, but then they lost Terrion Arnold. So it's kind of tough, depending on how that defense looks week to week, what's going to happen. And now we have Eagles versus Vikings, Sam Darnold versus Jalen Hurts. And I think that these are 2 of the best wide receivers in the league, in A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson going up against each other. I do believe in the Eagles cornerbacks a little bit more to be able to shut down Justin Jefferson and or Jordan Addison. I don't think you can shut down both. I mean, the Lions just did it, but that was partially on Sam Darnold not being able to make those throws because they brought pressure and were able to do that. I think Vic Fangio will be able to get pressure on Sam Darnold as well. So that being said, I do think the Philadelphia Eagles are able to take that game, and it'll be number 1 seed versus number 2 seed. And now with the Ravens and the Bills, it comes down to who I think is the better coach. And I'm going to say, I think John Harbaugh is the better coach. Who do I think is better quarterback? No idea. Both are MVP candidates. Both are really, really good. So who has the better supporting offense around them? I think Derrick Henry is the better running back. I think Zay Flowers is the better wide receiver. I think Amari Cooper is a really good wide receiver, but for whatever reason, I think it's because he was injured when he first got to the Bills. It just, to me, it looks like the Ravens have a better all-around offense, and I think the Ravens defense is just that much better when they're playing their best. And when they're playing their best, which they should be in the playoffs, they are a team that is super hard to beat. And that being said, I'm taking the Ravens here to go to the conference championship. And we have Ravens versus Chargers, and we have Lions versus Eagles. I think this is a really, really good conference championship for you guys to watch. And I am super excited to see how this goes. Okay, first up, let's talk about the Chargers versus the Ravens. They did play each other in week 12, and the Ravens were able to take away the win 30-23. Lamar Jackson only passed for just a few yards, 177. Justin Herbert had 218. Ladd McConkey was the biggest receiver for the Chargers. Zay Flowers was the biggest receiver. Derrick Henry went for 140 yards, and J.K. Dobbins was only able to rush for 40 yards. So that is kind of interesting. The Chargers did jump out to a 10-0 lead, and I think this game will be very, very interesting to watch. That being said, I do think the Ravens just have too much talent not to win this game, and I do think the Ravens are able to take it away and barely beat them out, able to win, but they are able to get the W and cement themselves into the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson finally makes it to the Super Bowl, and we will have to wait and see what happens there. Hopefully this does happen. I am cheering for the Ravens. I'm cheering for all of AFC except for the Chiefs. So, you know, it is what it is. But now let's get to the main game, the Lions versus the Eagles in a dome. Like I said, Jared Goff versus Jalen Hurts. I think this one will be very interesting to watch. If the Lions are still beat up on the back end like they are now, I think the Eagles will have no problem throwing the ball, and then they'll be able to run it with Saquon Barkley. I do think the Lions do have an opportunity to run the ball with Jahmyr Gibbs, but the Eagles do have Zach Bond, who's looked really, really good this season. They have Jalen Carter. They have all these little pieces. They have good safeties, Reed Blankenship. So I think it'll be tough for the Lions to be able to get past that. And it really depends. I know Aiden Hutchinson around this time is potentially supposed to come back. They said Super Bowl, but if they can get him back before then, like if they can get him back to conference championship, that'll be interesting to see. But I do think it would be Super Bowl at the earliest. So that being said, I am going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to beat them. I just think that Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, I think they just have a little bit more. And I think their defense is able to stop them just a little bit more and be able to end up winning that game. So for the Super Bowl, we have the two birds, Eagles versus Ravens. I think it's funny, when I introed this with Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley asking if they could make it to the Super Bowl, I didn't know who my Super Bowl picks were at the time. That being said, the fact that Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley will be facing off against each other in the Super Bowl, that is a crazy angle to be looking at. And then we have Jalen Hurts versus Lamar Jackson, you know, and then two really good defenses. These teams did play earlier on in the season, and the Eagles were able to get the win, but the Ravens defense did not look how they look now. And I do actually want to toggle Super Bowl scores so that way you guys can have an idea where I'm coming from. I think it's going to be a really close game. I think it's going to come down to the last possession or two. And I think the Ravens score 24 points, but I think the Eagles score 30, and the Philadelphia Eagles will end up being your Super Bowl champions. I hope you guys think this is a good prediction, and if you think I'm totally wrong, totally off base, you think the Chiefs are going to win three-peat, go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below. You think the Chargers are going to win it all? Let me know. I don't think a lot of people are going to have the Chargers winning it all. I don't even know if anyone is going to have the Chargers beating the Chiefs, but I do. That is where I see it here. And yeah, I already recorded a 20-minute video of this earlier. This one ended up being about 15 minutes, so I hope you guys did enjoy. If you do, please leave a like. and subscribe for more. I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a great day. The next video coming out tomorrow will be a review of the entire season, coaching carousel type thing, where we talk about what I think is going to happen to each team, what I think's best case scenario for them, and then we'll start getting to more of the off-season stuff throughout the playoffs. So I hope you guys did enjoy. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want more. Peace. Bye.